Hi, my name is DJ. I'm a youth advocate with Mikva Challenge.
Great. I'm Bill Daley, candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago.
Thanks for coming in today. We want to start off with an icebreaker question. If you, or would you rather have the ability to fly 10 miles per hour or run 100 miles per hour?
Probably fly 100 miles an hour.
Fly 100 miles an hour? Okay, I would say run 100 miles an hour, just because I feel like, I haven't really flown in a plane yet, so I'm not really sure how comfortable I'll be in the air. And our first real question is kind of easy. Why are you running for mayor?
You know, I've been fortunate in life. First of all, I've lived here my whole life. My kids are here, my grandkids are here. I've spent, as I say, my entire life. I know the city. I love the city. I think we have a great city. I've spent most of my life in the private sector. I've had the ability to work in the federal government for President Clinton, President Obama. So I've been around government and politics a lot. And I think I can add something to the future of the city. And we have lots of issues, lots of problems. And I'm at a stage in my life where I can do this, not because I want to run for another office or get another job. And I want to give something back to our city that I love.
Okay. We collected 50 questions from about 50 young people around the city. One of the most pressing issues youth cared about was education. Scenario from the Inglewood, Washington Park area asks, where do you see the school system in 20 years?
You know, that's a real tough question for a whole host of reasons, DJ. First of all, we have a school system, physically at least, that was built for another previous generations with enormous excess than we need right now, with 153,000 empty seats. So we have a lot of issues around that and the financial situation. What I've proposed is a new system which you would combine the Chicago Public Schools and junior colleges into a 14-year system. So if in 20 years, if I get the ability to implement that merger, what I would hope you would have is a system where young people in the city who go through the public school system for that 14 years finish with an associate degree and are ready for a job and for life. And they have a training. Those who want to go on and finish a four-year college, if in 20 years there are still four-year colleges, or go on to graduate school or that, they can do that. But that the vast majority of the young people who would go through CPS would be ready for a job and trained for jobs of the future that don't necessarily need a four-year or a graduate degree.
Okay. Another pressing issue the youth surveyed was gun safety. A student from Uptown asked, how would you go about regulating gun laws and who is eligible to own a gun?
Well, first of all, we have a national problem on our gun situation. I've had the ability as Commerce Secretary and in the private sector to travel the world. And no country in the world has the number of guns and the lax system of being able to get a gun as we do in America. And the results of that is nobody has the shootings and the violence that we have in this country. So we have to acknowledge the difficulty at the national level. I do think that we can do things here that make it tougher. We can do background at the state level. We can do background checks. We can make the possession of a gun. Today, it's a misdemeanor. If you're caught with a gun, that's a misdemeanor. If you don't have a right to have that gun. And I think the message of that is it's not that serious of a crime. Some states, New York, it is a felony, and there are no exceptions. I use the example all the time of Plexico Burress, was a football player with the New York Giants, won the Super Bowl. A couple of months later, he's in a bar, gun drops out of his pocket, shoots himself in the leg. He spent 6 months or 7 months in jail. No, he had all the money in the world, big-time lawyers, didn't matter. There was a message of a toughness around illegal ownership of guns. So I think we have to get more serious about that.
We heard a lot of questions around healthy communities. Another student from Albany Park asked, how How will you help my community while helping all the others as well?
Well, how to spread the wealth, put it that way. First of all, this public money that's out there is nowhere near as large as the private money that's out there, investment, whether it's personal investment, corporate investment, capital that's given to entrepreneurs and people starting businesses or running businesses. I think the city one of the things we have to do is have a planning department that's not just focused on planning for downtown or the close in to downtown neighborhoods, but a planning department that focuses long-term planning in neighborhoods that have great needs. And that will take time to change, but I think that's imperative that we begin to change that mindset. The downtown, which is very important, all these neighborhoods around downtown that are doing well, that's important for the economic vitality of the city and for revenue for the city to use in other neighborhoods. So we've got to keep that going. But at the same time, I think we've got to try to find ways to invest and get others to invest in neighborhoods that have been sorely lacking in that throughout the city.
Okay.
Big challenge.
And finally, for those who are under 18 and cannot vote, how will you and your office listen to them and their needs and in order to represent them well?
You know, to be honest with you, that's a tough question. Because usually people express themselves in our form of democracy through voting or through activism in organizations or community organizations or organizations that are forcing a change. You know, a mayor has to be open and transparent. He has to listen to organizations, listen to people who come in, make him or herself accessible, whether it's on radio shows, television, public hearings around the budget, things like that. How one in a role like mayor makes him or herself accessible to that young generation that is not participating in a voting sense, but in a living sense, it will be a challenge. I'd sure like some ideas, to be frank with you, on how to accomplish that, because it is not a normal thing for a person in elective office and governing then to view that generation below 18 who vote as something you should be engaging with on a constant basis, other than obviously making our schools better, because that's their ticket to greater participation in many ways in the system when they get out of high school, and are then able not only to vote, but to do all sorts of things beyond just participating in on election day.
Okay. All right. I know you're a busy man. Thank you for coming in today, and thank you for your time, and wish you the best of luck in this upcoming election.
Thanks, DJ. And you know, I got to say, I knew Ab Mikva and Zoe, and they're great people. I think the Mikva Challenge has been a great thing for this city. I've had the pleasure to meet a lot of young men like yourself and women who are really engaging in civic activities, and I think it's good for our city. And I congratulate you and wish you well in your career.